the latest with the newest information that we are getting. And we would also encourage you, if you know anything about what is going on here, if you have a student that attends this high school or a school nearby, if you can give us any perspective on this story, we would appreciate to hear from you. 206-674-1305. That number again, 206-674-1305.
All right, right now we do have Q13 Fox reporter Hannah Kim on the scene for us here. Hannah, good morning. What's the latest?
Well, this is still a very active shooting situation. We just got a briefing from the Marysville Police Department. They told us that the SWAT team members are still going from classroom to classroom. They still need to check what's going on. We do know that the suspect is a student at Marysville Pilchuck and that he has died. So we have one confirmation of one death. We do know that there are multiple injuries, possibly up to 6, but we have not got that number confirmed from Marysville Police. And also, they gave a second briefing. They came out here just a few minutes ago, and they told us for those worried parents, as you can imagine, they want them to meet their students, their daughters and sons at the 116th Street and Schultes. There is a gospel church there at that location. They want parents to go there because, as you can imagine, it's still a active scene at that school. They don't want parents rushing out there, making the scene more chaotic. I know that's really hard for parents because the first thing you want to do is you want to rush to that school, but they want them to meet them again at 116th and Schultes. There's a gospel church there, and they want parents to go there. That is the latest information that we've gotten here. Of course, we're working on more of the developments. They're supposed to come out here at 1:30 for another briefing, and we'll update you guys on that.
Hannah, I want you to set the scene for us just a little bit, if you can, where you are standing right now. What are you seeing right there? Where are you?
Well, we're at Marysville City Hall, and that's why we're not showing you anything behind us because the press conference just ended. So right now, this is where the staging ground is. This is where the command center is posted. As you can imagine, information is key during a time like this. So right away, soon after the shooting happened, shortly after 11 o'clock, they sent out a media alert saying that they were going to bring people here to send out all the information. They're still learning as they go, of course. And again, the SWAT team members are going through classroom to classroom, trying to clear the area. So it's still an active shooter situation. We do have to mention, though, they only believe there is one shooter in this case, and that shooter is dead. So as far as danger to the public goes, there's none of that at this point. Of course, though, there's still a chaotic scene trying to figure out all of the injuries and the latest situation over there.
Okay, Hannah, thank you. Stay on the standby there, and we will check back with you in just a bit as officials gather there to give us some more information. We understand we're going to get an update in about an hour from officials there at City Hall. MJ has been busy talking with some of the school officials there. About 1,200 students attend Marysville Pilchuck High School, grades 9 through 12. This is a good-sized school. There are 3 interim co-principals at that school. You can imagine what their day has been like, having to deal with this situation. Interim principals there that are trying to, keep kids safe in the midst of all this, not to mention all the teachers and all the students who had to, take cover when shots were fired in the cafeteria this morning. A horrific scene. Yeah,
and it is something that it sounds like they, unfortunately, like schools across the nation, were prepared for. They have had these active shooter drills before. They have a school resource officer on campus who is also prepared for these types of situations. Also, just seeing this information as well, just hearing about this, Tacoma School District, it is being reported right now that they are in a modified lockdown situation. The doors are locked, it sounds like, in that situation. It sounds like there's no known threat to the schools. It's just happening out of an abundance of caution. Seeing that on Twitter in several places. Breaking Skagit is one of those sources also coming into us. It looks like Governor Jay Inslee also tweeting as well. He says, like all of Washington, Trudy and I have everyone at MPHS in our hearts and prayers. Please take care of each other. So as always, in these modern day situations, social media is helping out in this situation as well.
And you were just talking about active shooter drills, which so many schools in our state and our nation now go through in case of something like this. And we understand that there were SWAT officers training at schools in this area yesterday. So how ironic is that on this Friday afternoon, those same SWAT officers would be called back out to Marysville-Pilchuck High School.
How soon they needed to use that.
For an actual live shooter situation. Just horrible. And we understand that the students are still being evacuated from the school. What we are seeing from police outside the school, they have guns drawn, but they are not running around the school as they were about 45 minutes ago. So they are standing guard outside the school. They are sweeping the campus. There are many buildings involved, and they have to go through each and every one to make sure that there is not another threat on campus. So they are making sure that that is not the situation before they let anybody near the school. But safe to say that is not going to happen for some time.
All right. I know a lot of you have been tuned in this entire time. You know exactly what's going on. Just in case you are just tuning in here at Q13 Fox, we just want to take it from the top, reiterate what we know right now from police after this recent press conference about 24 minutes ago now, that there was a student shooter this morning at Marysville-Pilchuck High School. This suspect we know right now is dead. The only confirmed death right now by Marysville police. But what we don't know right now is how many people could be injured. We're hearing 3, we're hearing 6. We are working to confirm that. We've got the next press conference coming up in about an hour here. As you mentioned, police are still going through that school right now. They are still trying to confirm and just clear out the rest of the school. The kids are being bussed out to a reunion location as well. But this happened this morning, this shooting. About 10:40 this morning, they received a 911 call. Someone on campus called reporting that shots had been fired.
Schultes Community Church, the corner of 116th and 51st. That is the reunion location where the buses are taking students that have been evacuated. We've seen students evacuated from the school as well, and being escorted by police armed with rifles as they escort children by foot to the reunion location. So that is the scene where a lot of parents are gathering. But as word of this incident spread, a lot of parents immediately started heading right to the high school, and that is what police would prefer parents not do right now. Head to the school because a lot of the area is blocked off. It's a very active scene. There's a number of police and emergency response there. The sheriff is on hand there, as well as a number of aid vehicles. Still trying to get a correct number, an accurate number on how many injured here. We understand as many as 6 people injured in this shooting and 1 confirmed death, that being the gunman himself.
And as you mentioned, Bill, several different Marysville police on scene, several different police jurisdictions have responded to this: Marysville, Arlington, Lake Stevens, Snohomish County. Also here, I actually just saw a tweet. We've got Adam Mertz on the phone this morning. He is in Marysville right now. He had tweeted some of the traffic that was near Marysville High School this morning. Adam, you said you spoke to some parents. What did they tell you?
Well, as a parent, your initial reaction is to try to find your child, get a hold of them on a cell phone, or go to one of these places where they can pick them up. And that was part of the confusion just a short time ago. We went to a church where there were about a half a dozen parents out there waiting to pick up their kids. They were told that this was a spot where they can be reunited, but it turned out it was the wrong location. So all of those parents have now piled back into their cars, and they're now heading down to the location at the Schultes Community Church located on 116th and 51st Street. That's where we're told where parents can pick up their kids. Again, it's a long drive to get there. This is a neighborhood that is 2-lane streets, homes on either side, and many of these streets blocked off by police surrounding the high school. So a drive that would typically take you maybe 2 or 3 minutes, now taking 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Right now, as I'm watching, we're seeing some people just turn back around and make U-turns out of this really long line of traffic on the way to that church where we're told these parents, where these students are being again, that is at the Schultes Community Church at 116th and 51st Street. Initially, as I said, parents out here thought that it was at a different church, and they were waiting there to try to get word on their kids. And the church there told them, no, you need to go to this other church. So a long line of traffic as parents are just trying to get there, make sure their kids are all right. But again, with cell phones, a lot of them have probably been in contact with them. It's just a matter of grabbing your kid and giving them a hug after something like this.
Right, and just adding to the anxiety and the confusion of that situation as well.
Absolutely, and I can just imagine, Adam, that you were dealing with some parents that probably didn't want to talk with you very much. They were very anxious to speak with their children instead.
Yeah, certainly the looks on their faces. Some of them knew that their kids were all right, but still, the shock of all this. I mean, there's no way to put it into words. For these parents who, you've seen these things happen in other communities across the country, but here at their high school where their kids attend, it gives them goosebumps. It's almost unimaginable. And here they are waiting in a parking lot, trying to get a hold of their kids, then being told go to another place to go pick up their kids.
Right.
And every minute just seems like a half hour.
And here we are again across America doing this once again concerning this school shooting situation. Adam, we're just going to put you on standby for a minute. If you learn any more details, make sure you let us know in the control room there. But we do want to get to Brian Blakely, who is in our newsroom. Brian, it sounds like you have some new information about who was in that cafeteria when that shooting happened. What do you know?
Well, parents are probably wanting to know a lot about whether their child is safe, and was their child in that lunchroom cafeteria at the time of the shooting. And parents may know their children's schedules at one point or another, maybe not succinctly throughout the day, but during that time at 10:45, do they know if their child was in the classroom? Some schools will do by freshman class, sophomore class, or what have you, but we do that. Marysville High School is divided into 6 periods, so a certain period of class of people were in there, and that was all different age groups from freshman all the way up to senior that were inside the cafeteria at the time of the shooting. So the parents, they may not know that or what, but that gives you some idea of who might have been in the cafeteria and all different age groups at this time, as parents are trying to find out their loved ones and where they are right now at this point as they struggle to get to them. Bill and Liz?
Yeah, and this is a good-sized high school. You bring up a good point. I mean, we're talking about grades 9 through 12. This is a very large school. I mean, we're talking about 1,200 kids that attend this school. It's part of the Marysville School District. It's actually a combination of 2 local schools. The first high school in Marysville was Marysville High School. Pilchuck High School was built in 1971, and this is a very large campus with a lot of different buildings. In fact, there are 2 cafeterias on this campus. MJ just pulled up a map, and we're going to try to turn this around so you can get a look at it at home. But there are 2 cafeterias on this campus. There's a main cafeteria and an auxiliary. We don't know at this point which one it was. The main cafeteria, the largest one, is right by the outdoor parking lot where visitors and students would park, and then adjacent to that is a student center in the main entrance of the building. So we don't know exactly where it happened, but we do understand that the shooting did occur in the cafeteria.
Right, and when we get this map up, you can see, and if you have a student there, I mean, there are a lot of buildings here. There is a lot of land to sweep through for police. So as you can see, when they say this is an active situation, you can understand why. There is a lot of ground they've got to cover to get through. Also this morning here, we are learning at Q13 Fox, it sounds like 3 injured at Providence Everett Hospital. 2 reported in surgery right now. That's Providence Everett Hospital, which I believe okay. All right, our producer, Matt, he's saying that this is confirmed. 3 at Providence Everett Hospital, 2 reported in surgery right now. I'm just going to make sure that I double check on this, but Providence is a level 2 trauma center. So at first we had heard people were being airlifted to Harborview. That was not the case. Instead, they are going to Providence Everett Hospital in the middle of surgery, but we don't know the extent of these injuries right now.
Right. We did not confirm that anybody was airlifted, but we did get an indication that students were being taken by ground transport to hospitals, plural. So we now know know that there are 3 at Providence Everett. 2 of those shooting victims are in surgery right now, and boy, I think collectively, let's all pray for those shooting victims and hope for the best in that. We have a number of reports that there are as many as 6 shooting victims here. We do not know if that includes the gunman who is now confirmed. And I say gunman, I should say gun person, I guess, because
we don't know.
it is not confirmed. Police would not confirm if it was a male or a female.
Yeah, all we know at this point is it was a student. It was a student, and one of the 1,200 students that attended this school this morning.
Authorities are confident there was only one shooter. That is according to a police official. A student who was on lockdown inside a classroom telling CNN on the phone that the shooting did begin in the cafeteria. We've been talking about that. And that shooter is now dead from what we understand, a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
And it does look like Providence Regional Medical Center is a level 2 trauma center. Again, we are still working on finding out the updates on the extent of these injuries. Wow. Okay, so this is still an active situation on the campus of this high school here. It sounds like we have a telephone call set up with one of the students from the high school this morning, Peyton Nolte. She's a 9th grader with the school. Peyton, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Were you in the cafeteria when this shooting?
Yes, I was. I was like 2 tables in front of him.
Oh gosh, I'm so
okay.
sorry.
Okay, so this was a boy at school. Did you know this person?
I didn't know him that well, but I did, I met him before. He was, one of the guys that held my homecoming sign for homecoming.
Oh, good heavens! So, Peyton, can you take us back?
Yeah.
Take us back to what happened in the cafeteria today, where you were, what you saw.
Okay, so it was a normal day, and everyone was eating, and all of a sudden, I saw this guy. He stood up, and I saw him grab something out of his pocket, and then all I heard was gunshots, and then the white powder stuff coming out of it, and then I didn't entirely see him, the guys fall down or any of them shot down, but I was just too busy getting out of there.
And so, what was your initial reaction when you heard the gunshots?
I just, all of a sudden, I was just like, okay, I gotta get under the table. But then I was like, why is everyone leaving? So then I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna just be the only one in there. So I just left and ran out the nearest exit.
Peyton, it sounds like your school has done active shooter drills before. I mean, clearly this is the real thing we're talking about here. Did that help you at all in your situation, or is it like how you said, you're just reacting, you're just trying to get the heck out of there?
Well, I'm a freshman, so I don't think we've gone over that entirely yet.
Okay.
Peyton, okay, so tell us what happened next. When you heard the gunshots, you immediately went under the table. You said he was a few tables away from you?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so was this in front of you? I mean, did you see him literally pull out the weapon?
Yes, I did. And since I went on the table, because that was like my first instinct, so I don't stand up and be target.
Right. No, I can understand that. Okay, what kind of a weapon was it? Did you get a good look?
It was a handgun.
Okay, so not a rifle, but a pistol, a handgun.
Yes.
Okay, and did he seem to be targeting anyone? I can't imagine if you're ducking under the table, you're going to get a good look at that. But did he seem to be targeting anyone in particular? Did he say anything?
No, I did not see him point at anyone, but particular. But I just, yeah.
And he didn't say anything.
No, he did not say anything.
Did he? But you said he stood up.
Yes, he did stood up, and I heard about 5 shots.
And when he stood up, did he get up on a chair or on a table or anything, or did he just stand up and then everybody kind of noticed that, oh, this person has a weapon?
Yeah, he stood up from his chair. He didn't climb on anything, but then I think once when we heard the first gunshot, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" Because then they thought it was like fireworks or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it made that sound. But then it did it again and again, and they were like, "Oh no."
So clearly, you're trying to run for your life. So you didn't see, or did you see? Do you know if he might have known any of the people that he shot, or was that just impossible to see at that point?
I am not sure if he knew any of them.
Do you know what grade he was in?
Yes, he was a freshman.
He was a freshman like you.
Yes.
Did he go to your middle school?
I think I was homeschooled, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he went to LMS.
Okay, so you got out from under the table, ran out of the cafeteria, and it sounds like that there were a number of other students doing the same thing.
Yeah, they all climbed out of their chairs and just ran to the nearest exit.
Okay, and so then what did you do?
And then we ran to the end of the street, and then we climbed this huge fence. You climbed the fence? Yeah, we climbed the fence over because everyone's telling us to get away from the campus, get away from the campus.
Who was telling you that?
Okay. All the kids were. They're like saying, "Get away from the campus, get away from the campus." We're like, and all the people that were running. So.
Okay, so we're not real familiar with the high school. Maybe you can give us an idea on the geography of where this cafeteria is, because there are a couple of them from what I see on the school map. There's like a main cafeteria and an auxiliary one. Where did this happen on campus?
The big cafeteria, it was more by the forum. There's where the big M is. The forum is where the big open cement square where a fountain used to be.
Okay, so would this be closer to? The reason why I'm asking is because the one cafeteria appears to be very close to a parking lot and the student center. Was that the one?
Yes, that was the one. Okay.
And so when you left, you literally left campus, climbed that fence, and ran away.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's good insight as to where this happened. This was a pretty populated area. How many kids would you say were in the cafeteria at the time?
Well, since it was a half day, not as many as normal. So there was probably about maybe like 50 maybe in that cafeteria, as I saw. But then some people were probably eating outside.
And I know you said that you were homeschooled at one point. The school year is still new, and you mentioned that you remember this student holding up, signs for homecoming. Is there anything, without revealing the identity of the student, we don't want to say a name right now on air. Is there anything else that sticks out to you about this student?
Well, my friend, she had a class with him before the lunch, and the girl that was running with me, and she said she felt like he was being all cautious and like all quiet, and was always looking down, and
Any idea why he was? I mean, aside from the fact that he apparently was carrying a concealed weapon, any other reason why he would feel that way? Did anything happen to him, or any indication of a reason why he would want to open fire?
Not that I know of right now. They've been saying, a lot of people saying rumors that it it was a native site and that it was about a girl and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, kids are going to talk. Okay, so Peyton, thank you so much for your time and for giving us some perspective on this. We appreciate it, and
we are so sorry that you are going through this.
Are you okay?
I'm really still in shock completely.
We don't blame you.
It was really terrifying at first.
I mean, what a way to start your high school career. You're a month and a half into your high school career, and you have to deal with this. Peyton, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. Hug your friends a little closer. Hug your family a little closer. We are so glad, especially being as close as you were to that gunman, that you are alive right now to speak to us on the phone.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
That's great for everyone.
Okay, let's check back in now with Brian Blakely. He's down in the newsroom. And, I'm sorry, Matt Lorch is in. Now, Matt, you've been gathering some new information for us. What do you have?
Well, we're hearing from some people who have been at this church where parents are now being told to pick up their kids. And the reports we're hearing out of there is confusion for these parents. They're being asked to show ID so they can prove that their child who is at that church is theirs. And these parents are also hearing what we're hearing, that it was a freshman. And some of the reports coming out of this church from these students who are gathering there is that he may have just stood up and shot his friend. And as we were listening to Peyton there describe what she experienced, all you can think of, as a news person, but also as a parent is, these are young kids. These were freshmen in a cafeteria, 50 to 60 kids who all of a sudden hear some popping. They think it's fireworks because they don't first think this could be gunshots going off. And guys, when we grew up, we didn't have this reality in school. We didn't have the reality of school shootings happening on a regular basis. But kids now, they know it's a reality. They train for this. They just recently trained for this. And today, unfortunately, at Marysville Pilchuck, it played out today. And, as she's describing running from that school and jumping over fences and trying to figure out what was going on and hearing about the student, a freshman who she described. And from other reports, we're hearing that this was a freshman and the rumors that are now swirling. You can just think about the confusion, the panic, the chaos, and your heart just goes out to that community. And that's what schools are. They're communities, and right now this community is trying to rally and figure out exactly what they know about this student, why he may have been so frustrated, why he may have shown up, according to her friend on this day, was cautious, and according to her had a handgun in his pocket that he suddenly pulled out. Did not announce, did not say anything according to her, but started shooting inside this cafeteria. Clearly a lot to go through. The other reports we're getting are from the Everett Herald that as many as 5 students may be injured, 4 of those going to Providence there in Everett. So according to the Everett Herald, Providence has now accepted 4 injured people, and there may be a total of 5 people. We've heard some reports that Harborview was preparing to accept the injured, but no confirmation that Harborview has actually seen any injured there for treatment. It sounds like right now all of the injured have gone to Providence. Once again, police confirming that the gunman was a student, that the gunman is now dead, and that's the latest we're hearing from here. I'm going to send it back up to you guys in the studio.
Okay, Matt, thank you. And we continue to monitor a number of sources. One of our sources telling us that this shooter was a freshman football player at Marysville Pilchuck High School. All after-school activities, including tonight's Marysville Pilchuck High School football game against, who are they playing tonight? Oak Harbor? That game has been canceled. In fact, all after-school activities have been canceled for the entire district. So that is the situation. So at 10:40 this morning, a 911 call came to the Marysville Police Department saying that there was an active shooter on campus at Marysville Pilchuck High School. And now we have heard from witnesses who tell us that that shooting happened in the cafeteria. A male student, a freshman at Marysville Pilchuck High School, pulled out a pistol and began shooting. The witness telling us that she heard 5 shots and then she ran out of the cafeteria, and we understand from police that the shooter is now dead. We have heard from the Seattle Times that is now reporting that there are 2 dead, including the shooter.
And we have also confirmed that through CNN as well. 2 dead right now including the gunman. So just hearing that from our producer in the control room right now.
Okay, so the death toll now is 3. 2 people dead, including and the shooter. Is that correct?
2.
2 dead, including the shooter.
So it's
I'm
one
sorry,
dead
I made
and
a
the shooter,
mistake.
yeah,
Okay, 2 people are dead, the shooter being one of them. My mistake.
All right. Also, this morning, or this afternoon, I guess I should say now, I know a lot of people are going to try and work through this. There's going to be a lot of grieving. These students are going to have difficulty as well. I mean, we're talking about the beginning of the school year here. An entire community, an entire state affected by another school shooting. We're hearing about a prayer vigil happening tonight in Marysville. This is at the Grove Church, the 4700 block of Grove Street. That's happening at 6:30 tonight. Pastor Andrew Munoz, it sounds like, who is conducting that. Actually, it sounds like we have Pastor Munoz on the phone with us, so perfect timing. Pastor, good afternoon.
Yeah, hi there. This is Pastor Andrew.
Actually, you're in Marysville. You're a community church here. How close are you to this high school?
We're only about 5 or 6 miles away from Marysville High School.
Okay, so can we assume that some of the congregation, some of the kids at your congregation attend this high school?
Yeah, I would assume so for sure. We have several kids that attend High School that attend our church.
Okay, and what is going through your head right now? I mean, what do you think? What is this community going to need to heal after such a tragic situation like this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we find our hope in Jesus Christ, and so we just believe that by offering hope to people who are hurting, we know that we can heal from this. But I think right now it's just an opportunity for us to gather together, to pray for each other, to pray for the families and pray for the students. And so that's why we're doing the prayer vigil tonight at 6:30.
All right, so just to reiterate, that is tonight at 6:30. Pastor, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We are keeping your whole community in our thoughts right now. This is just so heartbreaking.
Okay, so in terms of the injured, want to get the latest on that. 2 people are dead, including the gunman who opened fire inside the cafeteria at Marysville-Pilchuck High School. We understand that there are 3 people being treated at Providence in Everett, and 2 of those people are in surgery. We have just received an update from Harborview. A male patient has arrived via ambulance to Harborview. He is being assessed and evaluated. We do not know that person's condition. But that's the first that we have heard of a victim at Harborview. So that would make it 4 injured and 2 dead.
Okay, so 2 people dead, 4 injured, 3 of them critically, according to CNN this morning or this afternoon.
And that's what we have at this point. As you understand, I mean, this is a fluid situation, and we're trying to track down the information from a number of sources, and that is the most concrete number that we have right now, and that is 4 being treated right now at local hospitals and 2 dead, including the shooter, which apparently was a freshman student at Marysville-Pilchuck High School who opened fire with a pistol inside the cafeteria.
All right. Also, we just want to update. We've been saying that this second press conference is supposed to happen at 1:30 p.m. Now we're learning it's supposed to happen at 1 p.m. Marysville police have actually moved this press conference up about 8 minutes here. So it sounds like they are ready to go with some more details, and we will learn more. All right, I see we've got Jamie Tompkins, our Q13 anchor, sitting next to us. Jamie, you are in contact with a lot of these folks.
Yeah.
What are you hearing right now?
Moms very concerned, just blowing up my Facebook and my Twitter feeds. Moms looking to be reunited with their kids. Moms that are grateful to be reunited with their kids at this point. Some of them are right now, or just to hear from their kids, whether it's a text message or a phone call to say what's happening. It's a very, obviously, emotional time just to be a parent right now and just to be a member of this community.
I can't even imagine. And as a parent, you see these things happen around the country, and we saw this at Seattle Pacific. We had another school shooting down in Oregon in the early summer, and now it's happened again. And you never think it's going to happen in your community, and here we go again. It is happening, and the scene that we've been watching at the gathering place is probably worth mentioning again. That the gathering place where the Marysville Pilchuck students are being taken to is the Schultes Community Church. That's the corner of 116th and 51st. Do not go to the high school because it is locked down right now, and a lot of the roads in the area are blocked off. But what I've seen at that location where all the parents are being told to go is a lot of frantic activity, phones up to ears, trying to get any information, and understandably so.
Yeah, emotions are running really high for parents, of course, and I'm sure for staff too at this school. But like police said in that area, they're asking people to just stay away from that area, let them do what they need to do as law enforcement. It's very hard to take that information and follow those instructions, though, when you are a parent. So we're just following everything the parents are saying on Facebook, on Twitter, and it's good. As I'm hearing these reunions from parents, it's really good to see. I mean, the relief, though, for these moms is just tremendous.
Absolutely. Like we've been saying, this is every parent's worst nightmare. This is every student's worst nightmare, right at the beginning of the school year. And now these students and these parents and this community is going to have to deal with this for months, for years, just weighing heavy.
What do we know about this situation? So we know that it happened in the cafeteria. Is that what we're hearing from students?
Yes.
Yeah, and we spoke with a student as well, Peyton Nolte. She was a 9th grader. She was only a few tables away from the gunman, which, thank goodness, she was alive to speak with us. And she said that you spoke with her, Bill, in depth about those moments when he pulled that handgun out of his pocket and started shooting.
Stood up and started shooting. She said it sounded like about 5 shots. And then at that point, she decided to stop hiding from under the table. Apparently, there was a break, and a number of the other kids decided to make a run for it out of the cafeteria, and she did the same thing. A lot of screaming and a lot of confusion, as you can imagine. And she said that she and a number of other students immediately headed to a nearby fence, climbed that fence, and got off of campus. But you can just imagine the scene inside that cafeteria when a student stands up in the middle of lunch and opens up a weapon and starts firing.
And said before that she had a friend that she was running out of that school with who had noticed during one of the classes before lunch, I guess this friend had a class with this suspect and said that he was acting a little strange. He kept looking down. He was being very controlled. Just on these witness accounts here, it sounds like it was just those moments before this shooting happened in the cafeteria. It sounds about, 50 to 60 students in this cafeteria?
That's what it sounded like. We're just getting some new information from CNN here. 2 people dead in this shooting, including the shooter. 4 are injured, and 3 of them critically. We understood that there were 2 people that were undergoing surgery up at Providence and Everett, and then another victim had been taken to Harborview Medical Center, not airlifted, but driven to Harborview Medical Center. Considering the type of hospital that Harborview is, that is a very seriously injured victim and is getting cared for there. So 3 people, we understand, in critical condition. 4 people injured in total, and 2 people are dead. So the initial indications that we had that there were 6 people injured, as many as 6 victims, appears to add up at this point. If you have 1 person that was killed in this shooting, the gunman who apparently took his own life, and 4 people in local hospitals.
Yeah, and for the most part, it sounds like most of them are at Providence. We've got a couple of them, or one of them at Harborview right now. Which are different level trauma centers. 2 people dead, including the shooter. In about 3 minutes here, we are going to get an update. We're expecting an update here from Marysville Police Commander Rob Lamoureux, who I believe that will be the person we will be talking with, the point person. We've also got Hannah Kim down there, making sure we get that information. So we are set up. We are ready to go near that press conference point to bring you all the latest details. But this shooting, in case you're just joining us here, happened about 2 hours and 20 minutes ago. The call came in, according to police, at about 10:40 this morning. Someone on campus, whether it was a teacher or an employee of the school or a student, made that 911 call about those shots fired. And just speaking with that 9th grader, Peyton Nolte, today, she just gave us a really great firsthand eyewitness account of, gosh, what those terrifying moments are like.
And this student, by a number of indications now, a freshman, a member of the freshman football team at Marysville Pilchuck High School, who opened fire. And, you know, we're going to get an update from police in just a few minutes, but you can think about what a football Friday at a local high school is like.
Right.
You have, you know, members of the football team that either dress up in ties when they go to school on game day or wearing their team jerseys on game day. And, you know, it's always kind of a festive scene on a Friday, you know, before a big football game. Marysville Pilchuck playing Oak Harbor tonight. That game has been canceled now. And we have some information about early release in the district, too?
Yeah, it was supposed to. MJ has been doing some research today. It sounds like she's doing some district research, talking with some parents. It sounds like today was even an early release day. You know, the students weren't supposed to be there all that much longer. Every Friday, apparently, is an early release for these students. Okay. They have some sort of professional development for the staff. So it sounds like they were just hours from leaving school.
Right. Yeah. It was a half day there. A lot of local districts do things like that, have an early release one day out of the week. So what we know now, and it's becoming more clear that this was a single shooter inside Marysville Pilchuck High School, who apparently got up during lunch today and started randomly shooting people. One person is dead, 4 people injured, and from what we understand, the gunman turned the gun on himself and opened fire, and so a total of 2 people dead, 4 people injured, 3 of them critically now, as we follow the latest on that. One of the victims is being treated at Harborview in Seattle, the other 3 at Providence in Everett.
And, wow, like we say, this just happens way, way too much here in the United States, and it sounds like it's hitting really close to home in Newtown, Connecticut. Receiving a tweet right now from @Sandy Hook, Sandy Hook Promise, sandyhookpromise.org, and they're just saying our hearts and thoughts are with the families and victims and students at Marysville Pilchuck High School in Washington. I can't imagine how close to home that hits. We had also earlier received a tweet from Governor Jay Inslee. He was also, what did he say? He said, yes, like all of Washington, Trudy and I have everyone at MPHS in our hearts and prayers. Please take care of each other. This is still an active situation, though. We've got that reunion spot happening as well. So, again, if you were a parent, just stay away from that area. We showed you that map on screen of this high school. It's a lot of ground to cover for police. Yes, and we now know which cafeteria it was. This is a school that had 2 cafeterias on campus, and so when we were talking with Peyton Nolte, the freshman there who witnessed this, she told us that this happened in the cafeteria that's closest to the parking lot and closest to the edge of campus, which allowed her to just run right out a door and over a fence and off campus and to safety. I should probably mention this too, and this is interesting. Sandy Hook Elementary School, the site of this nation's worst school shooting, tweeting out, our hearts and thoughts are with families of victims and students at Marysville Pilchuck High School in Washington. That just tweeted out by Sandy Hook Promise. Want to give you a quick listen to that interview in case you missed it. A little while ago, we chatted with a freshman at Marysville Pilchuck High School about what she saw this morning.
He stood up from his chair. He didn't climb on anything. But then, I think, right once when we heard the first gunshot, everyone was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Because then they thought it was like fireworks or something. Mm-hmm. But it made that sound. But then it did it again and again, and they were like, oh no.
and just frightening moments there for ninth grader Peyton Nolte. It was, she's a freshman there at Marysville Pilchuck High School. She hasn't been in high school for, 2 whole months yet. And she's experiencing this school shooting. We're just hearing from her. She said as well that she knew of the person who was the shooter, said that he was a freshman. We don't know the identities of those people who are injured, but hopefully we can learn more here. It's 1:03 right now, and we are awaiting this press conference. This is the spot where this press conference will take place. Actually, it looks like Marysville Police approaching that podium right now, so let's take a listen.
All right, thank you. So we are providing an update here on the Marysville Pilchuck High School shooting. We are confirming 2 deceased at this time. One is the shooter, and the second deceased, at this time we're not confirming whether it's student or staff. We have completed a sweep of the high school with our law enforcement staff. We are now going back through and doing a grid search, like a back check, and that is in process now. And that is what I have for this afternoon.
Can I ask you just sort of take this live back on the station, so can you just
Sure. So we are confirming 2 deceased at this time. One is the shooter, and the second we are not confirming whether that is a student or a staff quite yet.
The person was confirmed dead. He was not the shooter. Were they found at the same one classroom? Did they work in the cafeteria? Can you
Yes. The shooting did originate in the cafeteria, as we understand it. And so there was some type of activity there in the cafeteria. It is not known, I do not know, where the deceased were located.
Commander, do you happen to know whether the deceased took his own life or was he shot by police?
I don't know that at this point. Yeah.
Do you happen to know if the shooter killed the second person that was dead?
I don't know that at this point.
Do you have any information that discusses the firing of the weapons at all?
I'm sorry.
Do you have any information for you?
Not at this point. I will be, just so you know, I will be going to a command center briefing at 1:30, and I will get further information at that time, and I'll be able to come back at the 2:30 briefing and have more substantial information.
There's been a tremendous amount of reporting on Twitter. I don't know if I can call it reporting, but chatter on Twitter about who the shooter was, what the motive was, how many people have been injured, where people have been taken. Can you just recap what
I don't have.
we're saying?
Yeah. At this point, we're confirming that there are 2 deceased, that our officers have swept the building and buildings, and that we are doing a second check through those, more thorough. And that's basically what I have. I will learn more additional information at the command briefing here at 1:30.
Are there any students, as far as you know, who still haven't been able to contact their families and let them know they're okay?
I don't know what precisely is happening at the scene at this time. Yeah, we are still in the process of busing students to the reunification location.
Commander, can you tell us if the second deceased person is still at the school or were they taken?
I do not know if they have been transported or not. I do know that there were no airlift transports. All transports were ground.
Has the shooter been transported?
I do not know if they're still at scene.
Do you know anything about the motive, possibly?
I have no idea.
Were any staff members injured or killed?
I don't know. We're not confirming anything else other than there are 2 deceased at this time.
Commander, in regards to the grid search that you're conducting right now, can you just again talk about the scope of that search, given the size of the campus, and how long you anticipate that to take?
That's a good question. It is a large campus, and there are multiple buildings, and so it will take some time. We're going to take our time and make sure that everything is completely safe and clear, but I don't have a timeline of how long that will take.
Do you know if there were any threats made to the school or anything like that?
Again?
Any threats to the school in days prior?
Not that I have been made aware of, no.
Do you have any information about the weapons that were seized at the scene?
No, I don't.
What can you tell us about how long it took a police response to get to the school and what happened when they got there?
I will have more of that information for you at 2:30. I will go to the command center at 1:30. We're having a briefing. I will have a lot of more information at our 2:30 briefing.
Then why is that back check or direct check?
Well, it's just to make sure that when we do an initial sweep, it's very quick, and it's to locate students or any other shooters. So this one, we slow it down, we do it by grid, and we make sure all buildings are in fact clear.
Can you confirm though that no students and no staff are left in the building at this point?
don't know that they are all out.
Are you getting help from any other law enforcement agencies?
We are. We are getting help from the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office and Arlington Police, and here at the Media Center, we have multi-agencies. The Snohomish County Multi-Agency Response Team, our SMART team, is on scene. They will be assisting Marysville PD with the investigation.
From hearing the FBI is also involved with this.
I have not heard that.
Can you talk a little bit about any kind of planning or drills that you've had at this high school that you shed some light into how you prepared for a horrible day like this to potentially happen?
Yeah, we have done training at the school. It's with our SWAT team. I cannot say when exactly that took place or when the last time that took place. So I'm going to go to the 1:30 command briefing. I'll be back at 2:30 with some more information. Thank you.
All right, so once again, that 1 p.m. press conference wrapping up right now. Commander Rob Lamoureux with Marysville Police being very tight-lipped about these details as they are waiting to make sure everything is set in stone before they give it to us. As you can tell, as this always happens, we have a lot of fluid information that comes in from all different resources. So the Marysville Police being very careful. They are only confirming right now 2 dead. One is that shooter, that other person dead. They will not confirm, police will not confirm if that is a student or a teacher. They will confirm that that sweep around Marysville-Pilchuck High School is complete. A grid search, which the police refer to as sort of a back check, is happening now.
And they are going to be doing that for quite a while. This is a large campus, a lot of buildings to go through, but it appears that this was a lone shooter in the cafeteria at Marysville-Pilchuck High School, a freshman, according to witnesses who opened fire with a handgun. So that's the very latest. 4 people injured. 2 people are dead, and we understand that 3 of those injured are in critical condition right now. And one more time, I don't think we can say this enough. Parents, and I know that a lot of them are probably already on their way or very aware of this, but again, Schulte's Community Church at the corner of 116th and 51st, that is the place to be reunited. Parents and students encouraged to go there to reconnect. Let's check in now with Matt Lorch down in the newsroom.
As soon as the governor heard about this, he wanted to say, the folks of Marysville-Pilchuck High School, we are with you. And he sent out a message just so that all the people of Washington would know that the folks there are in his thoughts and prayers. This is what he sent out on Twitter. The governor saying, like all of Washington, Trudy, that's the governor's wife, and I have everyone at #MPHS, Marysville-Pilchuck High School, in our hearts and prayers. Please take care of each other. The takeaway from that news conference, guys, that we were just listening to is that an innocent student died today. We believe 2 others are now in critical condition. And obviously we had a very troubled freshman who showed up with a handgun, according to witnesses, and he was bent on hurting others today. And he, in fact, did that. We're going to get much more answers in the coming hours. In the meantime, we're going to press forward, look forward to this 2:30 news conference. We just heard from police. They will be briefed at 1:30. They're going to brief us at 2:30. And it sounds like that's when we'll be getting more information about a terrible day after a shooting on campus at Marysville-Pilchuck High School. I'm going to send it back up to you guys. We'll be covering it throughout the night.
All right, Matt, thank you. Right now, we're going to take you back to regularly scheduled program.